Hey, BSHL fans, and welcome to the unofficial BSHL Senior Hockey League podcast. I'd like to congratulate the Miramichi Northmen on winning the BSHL championship last weekend. Man, that turned out to be a war, not only between the players, but the fans too. Now, here's your hosts, the Coreys.
Hello and welcome to the unofficial BSHL Senior Hockey League podcast. I'm your host, Corey, joined by my co-host, Corey.
Good day.
How's it going?
Good. You?
Good. Interesting weekend.
Very.
No game on Sunday.
No game until next season.
We were maybe hoping to get to a game. Maybe it's okay that there wasn't a game.
I'm fine with it.
Let's get right into the game, and then we'll talk after.
The Miramichi Northmen are the 2024-2025 champions.
I mean, there's not much more to say than that, dude.
Nope.
Well deserved. I'll get into the scoring a bit.
I have nothing written down. I forgot.
First goal is Avery Brennan. Once again, much like Game 7 in Miramichi, Avery Brennan kicks it off. I found that kind of coincidental. Second goal was Brett Young. And then the game winner was Chris Keating. Chris Keating was what ended up being the game winner. He also had a second goal of that game, so finished with a couple goals. Nobody else had a ton of points for the Northmen. It was kind of spread around the team, which I always like to see. Chris Keating finished with 2 goals, 1 assist. And I don't know, that was really, he's this first star of this game.
Yeah.
Deservedly so.
Absolutely.
Captain Keating's a huge part of the team and, a legend in New Brunswick senior hockey, in my opinion, anyway.
I think in most people's opinions, I think he cracks the legends list. The finals were overshadowed by the semifinals. Yeah. I don't think the Hawks ever had a chance of winning this series. If I'm going to be completely honest, the Hawks, there's something that needs to change with the Hawks, because that old school way of doing it, the team they had, not only should they have finished first, they should have won the cup. On paper, they're probably the best team we've seen in the BSHL. No training. There are no practices, I should say. Just going to the game and playing and all that.
Most teams don't practice, to be fair. Almost every team in the league doesn't practice.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something that needs to change. I think the league's evolved past that.
I mean, it's hard to get practices in senior hockey when you have guys working and guys traveling in from everywhere.
I get that.
So that's the piece that's hard. Something about the Hawks, it just didn't fully gel. In my opinion, they never recovered from the series against Dalhousie.
Yeah,
that was a really physical, tough series. I think the Bucktooth series was hard for Miramichi as well. I don't think it was as physical. And if I'm being honest, in my opinion, the Northmen just played the best hockey throughout these playoffs. They gelled throughout these playoffs, and after they beat the JCs, they believed in themselves. They knew they could win this, and they did. I think there's, you can be an angry Hawks fan if you'd like. I understand that. I've been an angry Hawks fan in the past. I get it. But you just got to call a spade a spade. The Northmen played as a unit. I mean, you look at the score sheet from Game 6, scoring spread across 3 lines. They deserved it. It is what it is. And I'm happy they won it. I think there's no team in this league that deserved it more.
I don't think that it's all Hawks fans. I think most Hawks fans are realistically, they're like, yeah, Miramichi played better. Miramichi deserves it.
My mom and sister were sitting around you. Hawks fans in that section gave their air horns to the Northmen fans so that the Northmen fans could blow the air horns for the last 2 minutes. That's class. That's
class right there. A large portion of the audience had zero class. Fighting in the stands.
Small percentage. A small percentage of the audience had a lack of class, throwing cans, fighting in the corner.
audience.
It's unfortunate to see, but that's
it's unfortunate.
alcohol.
I've told you this in private. I'd ban alcohol from the Civic. That annoyed me. That just annoyed me. It's a black mark for the league. And it was Northmen fans fighting with Northmen fans. Your team's winning. What's up with that? Now, I did see Hawks fans throw cans on the ice and all that. Just can we be civilized? Can we just be civilized? Like, to me, it almost ruined the moment for Miramichi. And the thing, like, they hand the cup to Chris Keating, and the cup is bent. I'm like, why do the hockey gods hate Miramichi?
I mean, the cup wasn't bent right away. I rewatched the video. Chris Keating had it. It wasn't bent. He went into the group with all the Northmen and then came out and it was bent. They kind of swarmed, and whatever. The cup was. I can tell you that by the next time we see that cup, some good boy from Miramichi is going to spot weld that cup, and it's going to be good as new. I guarantee you that. I don't know. For me, nobody deserved it more than the Northmen, and
agreed.
Congratulations to them. This game was one-sided, my God. But
most games were one-sided. I think there was one game this entire series that was close, and it was Game 3 in LC, where LC, I think, they got the lead with like less than 2 minutes to go. Other than that, like, LC got a shutout against Miramichi in Game 5, I think it was. The other games in Miramichi, not even close.
And Game 1 in LC was not even close. It was all Miramichi.
Not even close. No. So,
but again,
it
just doesn't live up to the semifinals. Doesn't mean it was a bad finals.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed my time a lot. We had a lot of good food. We saw a lot of good hockey. There was some good physical play and some beautiful goals scored. My God, Bryce Milson scored one in this game that was absolutely beautiful. The wraparound by Keating was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But nothing tops being on the ice with the Northmen. The class of those boys, the organization, definitely a good memory for us to cap off season 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Was looking over my shoulder every once in a while because of the tension in the stands, but very good, very good. We brought the live stream on. Yeah, last year we got a few people interviewed and all that. We got like half the team this time.
Yeah,
which is pretty damn cool.
8 or 9 interviews. I took them apart, and you'll hear them all at the end of this episode. So that was.
You got Mark
special.
McGraw too?
I don't think I took Mark McGraw's. I think I only took the players, but I might grab Mark McGraw's as well. We'll see. It'll probably be at the end of this episode if I can remember. If I forget, then I'm sorry. I only took the player one apart because I sent it to Nathan DeLong, who couldn't be there. So I sent him all of our interviews so he could go through it for his article. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's I don't know. For me, I've been going to get hockey games in Miramichi for a long time. It was special to see the Northmen win the cup for sure. It's a city that deserves a championship in senior hockey. It's a senior hockey city ultimately, and I think the last time they won was 07 or 08. So you're looking
I thought it was 2012.
No, I was talking with Nick Foran, and he said it was 07 or 08.
Oh, wow.
And it was his first year playing senior.
Wow.
And, deservedly so. Now they win another cup. I'm glad Nick was there watching it. A lot of those guys have been playing senior in Miramichi for a long time. And, a lot of those guys were a big part of senior hockey in Miramichi. You talk about Chris Keating, you talk about Dave Morrison, Doug White, big hockey guys, but especially Dave Morrison. We don't give enough credit to Dave. He's a big supporter of this podcast, was one of the first guests on this podcast. And he's just, I don't know, he is hockey in Miramichi. He's a huge part of it, from minor hockey straight through. And it was great to see Dave win a senior trophy, and you could see the emotion on his face when I went over and talked to him. So, good for those guys.
Yeah.
You got to interview your cousin, which was a cool one.
Yeah. Yep. Got to interview a bunch of guys. Dan, you listen to him and you talk about, him beating his former team, and there was a little bit of him winning. It was personal. They didn't want him. A little personal. to me, I said, well, the Vautour name is on the cup, and he just laughed at that one. So, happy for him. Happy. But the one guy I wanted to interview, the one guy, they all mattered, but the one guy was Bryce Milson. I think Bryce Milson is a once in a lifetime talent in senior hockey.
Playoff MVP.
Playoff MVP, and just such a nice guy. Just a wonderful guy. I really wanted to talk to him because he's someone that never refused an interview, was always super kind to us. And even if we weren't interviewing him, he'd see us, he'd say hi, and that goes a long way in my opinion.
Yeah. Man, it was a little bit surreal again being on the ice with the trophy presentation, seeing the guys skating with the cup. I don't know that that's ever going to get old to me. That's very special. Last year we didn't expect to go on the ice. It was kind of one of those Travis last minute going, hey, get out on the ice with the guys. We've got some people who are on vacation. This year it wasn't something we thought twice about. I mean, I think obviously we were going to be on the ice doing interviews and covering this as well as we could so that the guys had that for the future. I think it's hopefully a lot of the guys enjoy that, and it's just a memory that they can keep. I know a few weeks ago I went back and watched the Dalhousie final game last year, and it's a special memory. So
Sophie was not there, right?
Sophie was not there. Sophie was in Florida. We missed her. I've got a list of thank yous, so I'll get into that really quick, and then we can get back into the hockey if you want, Corey. But there's a lot of people that I want to thank. I organized it a little bit better than last year, I think. I'm not a dipshit. You learn from your mistakes. And I'm probably still going to forget someone. But I want to start by thanking the league for their support. I think we started this up, and I don't think that Roger knew what the hell we were going to do. I don't know that he trusted us, and I don't blame him, because I don't think we knew what the hell we were going to do early on. But I think we've grown this to a point where Roger respects what we do. And I want to thank him for his support of the podcast. I think a big part of the reason that that's happened is a good friend of ours, Connor Smith.
Absolutely.
I want to thank Connor for everything he's done for the podcast, and he's just a good guy, and he's a good buddy. I talk to Connor. There's probably not a week that goes by that I don't have a good chat with Connor at least once or multiple times a week. He's, the door is always open if he ever wants to come on this podcast in the future. I think he knows that, and I'll say that for sure. I just love Connor, man. He's a good guy, good friend. So thanks to the league for everything that you've done. Thanks to Aubrey, who's become a pretty good supporter of the podcast in the last little bit. And it's really amazing how far this podcast has grown. We'll go through some of the teams and thank a few people, Corey. Thanks to Parker Dean, Colin Spicer, Courtney Dean, Tyson Alders, Shane Robar, all the players for the Ducks. One of the most supportive teams we had this year in the league. With Nova Scotia getting a senior hockey league, we don't know what the future holds for the Amherst Ducks. I would not be surprised if they did not come back and they chose to put a team in the Nova Scotia league. For travel reasons, I think it makes a lot more sense. Yeah. But, if they come back, that'll be fantastic as well. I love having them in this league. And thanks to them for everything they did. They're very, I would say they're the team that's the most forward thinking with what we do and understanding what we do and understanding what we offer. And I certainly do appreciate their support. Thanks to the Corsairs, Andre Saunier, their GM, all the boys, all of their committee. Another great group, We had some great interviews this year with Pat Jones, as always, Nick Williams. A lot of fun to watch. We try to get there 4 or 5 times a year. We accomplished that again this year, thank goodness. It's a ways from us sometimes. And I know this wasn't the season that they wanted to have, but we always enjoy our trips there. And hopefully, I have no doubt that we'll see some teams in the peninsula next year. We don't know what that's going to look like. I hope the Corsairs are back. I'm not sure if that's what it's going to be or who knows, but the rumors are flowing for sure.
Yeah.
To the JCs, another close team to us, big supporters of the podcast. Thanks to Miguel Duaro, Jeanette Duaro, all their committee, all the boys on that team. Man, we interviewed them a lot this year.
Yeah.
Or holy shit. There was one point where we were joking with them that at the rate they were going, we were going to have to like start interviewing fans, or I don't know, find someone new to interview. But we love the JCs. Great organization. The Marauders, we've said it once, we've said it again, we'll say it a million times. Just an amazing organization, good friends of ours. But the Morrisons, Eric, Jeremy, Travis, their fans, all the boys, it's just a classy organization. No organization could be further from us, and no organization could be closer to us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's the Dalhousie Marauders for me. I just love that town, love those people. We get into the finalists, the Elsa Puck Duck Hawks, man. Hell of a season, hell of a team. Only one team's been a finalist 2 out of the last 3 years. I think that's something to hold proud.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Cody and Robert McDonald for their support. Cody got us a ton of interviews. He was our go-to guy. Rocker as well. Thanks, Rocker.
Mm-hmm.
Those were our go-to guys to go into the locker room and grab us interviews, because we don't go into the locker rooms for interviews. We don't feel that that's a place we should go. So we find people that we can trust to send in and pull people out. So, and then obviously I got to thank Trey Lewis, man. Our first interview ever. Good friend of the podcast, friend of mine personally. And, I think regardless of what anybody ever says, we'll always support Trey. We'll always have his back.
Absolutely.
Trey off the ice is a human being, and Trey on the ice as a hockey player aren't the same person. Just, you couldn't find a bigger change of human being. He's very soft-spoken off the ice, super polite on the ice. He's this bearded, bald, terrifying human being. I wouldn't want to play against him, but I know Trey battled some injuries this year, and I think it was evident. You didn't see that big slap shot for most of the year, but we love the Hawks, man. What a team this year. They've got some guys that are going to be moving on, Mm-hmm. We won't be seeing that Doak down line. We'll be seeing Pete McLean. We'll be seeing Jason Ryu more than likely next year.
Why do you keep calling him Pete McLean? It's Brett McLean.
It's Brett McLean. I don't know why I call him Pete McLean. I blame Peter Trainer. All right. Brett McLean. Brett McLean. I feel like there's a Peter McLean somewhere in my life, like some actor or something. And that's why I keep
that name sounds familiar.
It does.
But it is Brett McLean.
Brett McLean's a great guy. We've interviewed him a couple times. Really good interview. But there's a lot of rumors that the Lumberjacks might be back next year. If they're back, they retain the rights to all those players. So if they're back, the Hawks are in fucking trouble. Let's just start with that. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
But the Hawks added a lot of good young talent, Brody MacArthur this year. What a player.
Rookie of the year.
The evolution of Jeremy Hebert. From last year being a rookie to this year, you're seeing him come into his own. And, that defense, of course, still going to be amazing. We don't know what the future holds for any of these teams, but we sure do hope to see the Hawks again next year.
Yeah.
Thank you to Foster Augustine, for everything he does to promote the Hawks. I didn't want to do this and not mention Foster, because you're not going to find anybody on any team on the outside that I have much more respect for than Foster. I always love to go over and shake his hand, say hi to him, have a chat. I would love to have him on the podcast one day to talk about his experiences, because what's not known is, I believe the story is he was in Vancouver to broadcast some of the Olympics. There was some story there. Like, I'd just love to have Foster on and have a chat about his knowledge of senior hockey in Elspucktuck and in this region. He's just such a nice guy too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Love Foster.
Love him.
Miramichi Northmen, man, champions. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? Looking on paper at this team, and then now looking at the way they've gelled and the way that, they're getting amazing output from guys that you'd never expect. Avery Brennan scored the first goal in Game 7 and the first goal of this game that won them the cup. Avery Brennan's become a hell of a hockey player, and just a great senior hockey player, to be honest with you. A couple of years ago, people would have thought that Avery Brennan was just this big fighter. He's a lot more than that now. He's a chippy third liner, and he scores some goals, man. But Dougie White, who I hadn't talked to until the start of this year. and who's now become a big supporter of the podcast. He always was, but we just didn't know him. Dave Morrison, one of the first people that I ever talked to when we started this podcast, and he was one of our first guests. But the Northmen organization in general, when I think back to last year, with Nick Foran, with Chris Keating, Sophie, and all the volunteers, they were really early supporters of the podcast. But talking about Sophie, thanks to Sophie, thanks to all those ladies, because they're a big part of this league, and they help the Northmen run. The best volunteers in the league, in my opinion. Malcolm and Ethan for all their support. I know you interviewed Malcolm finally.
Yep. Finally.
Finally. All that talk.
You reminded me of Ric Flair's with a tear in his eye.
He was very emotional to see the win. A lot of the guys were really emotional. It was beautiful to see. But they're a great team. They deserve this win. Northmen fans, hell of a group of fans. You can't let a small amount of people that were fighting change the view of the rest of those fans.
I look at the interview with Mark McGraw.
Yeah.
He was a little intoxicated, let's say, or drunk.
He drank one or two.
A little bit. But you could see he had tears in his eyes too, and you could hear him talking about, Jeff Wilson and Chris Keating and all these guys, Avery Brennan. And the line that he said that really stuck with me, it's like, the only thing that can surpass this is if Montreal wins the Stanley Cup. Well, at least he got the Northmen.
At least he got the Northmen. I don't think that's going to happen. But big congratulations to the Northmen, and a big thank you for everything you've done for this podcast and the support you show us. So well deserved. The next person, Corey, you know her. Holy moly, what a goalie. Taymouth, New Brunswick's own Roxanne Merrill Young. Thanks for everything she does for this league and promoting the Northmen, but promoting all the teams with her live streams. I mean, so many people get to watch their team's road games because of Roxanne. She has hundreds, sometimes thousands of people watching. It's kind of crazy, the following that she's gotten, but she's another person who's become a good friend of this podcast.
Absolutely.
And we love Roxanne, man. She's awesome, and congrats to Roxanne on this win. I mean, she was on the ice. She was definitely celebrating with Brett and with the Northmen, so it was fun to watch.
I'm happy to see her son lift the trophy and all that. And it was the first time me talking to Brett actually shook my hand, all that. He knew what I looked like. It's easy to miss me, but I have hockey blindness where they just look all the same.
It's like a hockey cataract.
Hockey cataract. There you go. And if I finally know what he looks like. So Brett Young, super nice guy. I was really happy to see Roxanne, see her son win the big one. It's like, moments like that, it warms the heart.
Next couple are very personal to the podcast. I'd like to thank Ricky Bassarash. Ricky's a good buddy. And why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I'm wondering who Ricky's dating. You said a couple.
I said the next couple.
There you go. The next couple.
The next two people, for anybody that's confused here. Ricky Bassarash is a heck of he was one of our first followers.
Absolutely.
He was probably the first person that ever reached out to me, offered me fight videos, offered me some pictures when I was just starting this, before Corey even jumped on, I think.
Yep. But, Ricky outdates me.
I think so. Not in our friendship. We've been friends for years, but to you're working for this podcast. Ricky's an amazing photographer, so generous with his pictures, his time, and he's become a really good friend. Another guy that I talk to on the regular. So thank you to Ricky for everything. Adam Story, Up and Adam on TikTok, YouTube.
Adam,
this big fella, man, he's grown so much this year. When he started doing the voiceover intro for the podcast, he wasn't sure he could do it, and I was like, "You can do it. Stop being stupid." And he killed it. He did an amazing job.
He's got a great voice for it.
He added a lot to the podcast, in my opinion, right? Like a lot of professionalism.
Absolutely.
And another guy that's a good friend. But
it kind of kept the lumberjack spirit alive for this year.
Agreed.
Because he was the sound guy, or the PA guy, for a little bit there in Doketown. And to have Adam's story, it kept we had a little piece of the lumberjacks still alive.
Agreed. He started Up and Adam on TikTok, on YouTube, and he has a Facebook page now. I think he's going to do some big things, and his content's pretty unique, pretty special, and a lot of fun to watch.
Too.
So yeah, really I find it interesting because I'm a nerd and I love farming stuff and forestry stuff. So it's fun to see the inside of those big machines. But up and at him on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Give him a follow. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Support him because he supports us a lot. Next ones are a little more personal. Corey, not personal as in about me. Don't get confused. Jesus, tired. This guy was yawning earlier. Now he's awake. To my parents, especially my mom. She's become a big part of this podcast, but my dad helps drive us around, gets to a lot of games, and he's a big supporter. But my mom with her notebook and Mama Podcast, I mean, what can you say? She's made too many Dalhousie trips to count, and a lot of people know who my mom is now. So
Mama Podcast has way too much patience for us. She has to deal with me. She has to deal with Corey. She has to deal with Cheryl. And she does it with a smile on her. I don't think anybody else could do what Mama Podcast does.
Talking about Cheryl, thanks to Cheryl for all the videos, all the hard work that she puts in. She's been with us since day one, literally that first game in Miramichi.
Yep. Shoegate.
The Shoegate. Her videos have helped grow this podcast more than probably anything else.
Yeah.
Her videos and the live streams are the two keys. This podcast is just a little side story. But a lot of our growth goes back to those videos. Without her recording them, we wouldn't be where we are. So thank you to Cheryl for that. Certainly do appreciate it. Tracy, Miss Zamboni Review. The Zamboni Review started as a dumb idea in Amherst, and we just kind of rolled with it. It was a lot of fun to have her on here more. Tracy's my partner. And as much as she is over this podcast by the time the season ends, I'll tell you, she's like ready for the end. By about semifinals, people are getting on her nerves. It's not easy. Some of the comments are hurtful. Some of the comments are a lot. But
just some of the comments sometimes it's so unnecessary. It's like, how old are you? 5?
Yeah.
Well, how are you able to spell those words with your mentality sometimes? It just, let's be nice to each other. We're here for the love of hockey.
Yeah. Kindness is a minimum requirement. And I think it's something we should all look for, but sometimes the comments on the page and stuff get to be a lot, but she's a huge supporter. We wouldn't be able to do this without her. She's also the graphics queen of this podcast, and she helps out in so many ways behind the scenes. The next one is you, Corey. But before I get to you, I want to talk about something that you've helped foster this year with the help of another person that I want to mention, which is Jason Casey.
Yep.
I want to thank our chat, and I want to thank our mods. Jason Casey, Adam's a mod, Tracy's a mod. You and I obviously are mods. Our chat has come such a long way this year. So I'm going to forget people, but Maureen has become a huge part of the chat, and we appreciate her. Obviously Bear Force, who going back to last year has always been a huge part of the podcast chat.
Yep.
Adam's a huge part of the podcast chat, but we have some fans from Elsie. Colton, to name one, is a huge one. Corey, who am I forgetting from the chat that you can think of?
Bryce
is a big part of the chat. He's also helped us with their game day stuff. I don't know. There's just a lot of people in our chat that are.
There's one missing. Corbin Nevin.
There's too many, and we're going to forget some, and we apologize for that. But thank you all for coming to our chat and making it as lively as it's been this year. For the most part, cordial, and people get along. But also, when people come in and say something ridiculous, you pretty quickly jump to our defense. We appreciate that too.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to our chat. Thanks to Jason for being such a great mod, but thanks to you, Corey. Thanks to, the grouchy elf with the weird musical knowledge. I couldn't do this without you. I wouldn't want to do this without you, to be honest with you. You've come such a long way.
It's not because of my looks.
That's definitely not it. You've come a long way, though, as a live streamer, as a podcast host, as a content creator, because your own channel, the Maritime Warriors, grew so much this year.
Yep.
And I think this podcast has strengthened our friendship. There's not really
Absolutely.
very many days that we don't talk. It's wild how far we've come, and a large part of that is because of you. So thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this with me. And
Thank you.
I think we've got another year coming up. And,
Absolutely. Before you move on,
yeah.
on behalf of myself, the podcast crew, and the fans, the patriarch of the podcast, the reason we're all here, Big Boss, Corey Robichaud. The second Corey Robichaud says, I'm done. Do you want it? I'm like, I'm done too, because I would not do it without him. People don't realize the stuff that Corey does for hockey, for his job, the patience he has dealing with me, his sister, his girlfriend.
You guys have a lot of patience dealing with me too, so it goes both ways.
Complete honesty, this tire doesn't spin without Corey's how could I say this? He is the main spoke on the tire. It doesn't roll without Corey. He is
I'm the biggest spoke
man.
on the tire.
Just
You're gonna ignore a good fat joke, you dickhead.
Nah, I don't like fat jokes.
Carry on.
Just Corey is the man. He is the podcast doesn't work without him. You pluck Corey out and you put some other guy in. No matter how charismatic it could be, it doesn't work without Corey. He is the big boss, but he's also the best boss. So to Corey, on behalf of myself, the fans, the podcast crew, thank you for all that you do, because you do a lot more than any other person would. Just I can't even put it into words right now how much you're unreplaceable to this podcast. You're the man.
Thank you, sir. Man, it's when I think about the friendships we've made through this, especially Dalhousie, Travis, and Jeremy, and those guys, Eric Peltier, and so many other teams. Even the ground that we made up this year with the JCs, with Jeanette Duaron, they become such big supporters, and the Northmen.
I think that's my proudest one, because Northmen were a little hesitant with us last year, and this year at the beginning a little bit, but it just became a regular thing to see the podcast back there talking with Northmen player and crew and all that, and them just coming up to say hi. So I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, me too, man, for sure. But just this year's been a hell of a year, and we'll be doing it again next year. So this will be ending soon. We've discussed a lot of options for what we're going to do for the off-season schedule. Right now, we're going to be back on Thursday for another episode. We're going to discuss, make some decisions coming up. There will be an off-season podcast. I don't think it's going to be a weekly like we discussed originally. We're talking about possibly bi-weekly episodes or something along those lines, just to keep it kind of going. And there's news, there's things to talk about. Yeah. So we'll still be here, but come September we'll be ramping it back up to 2 episodes a week. And thank you to all the supporters, man. There's so many people on the page, on the live streams that have helped this grow. We went from 0 to 10,000, or 0 to 9,000 last year, and this year we took it from 9,000 to 13,600. So that's a lot of eyes on senior hockey, and we're pretty proud of those numbers. So
absolutely.
Thanks everyone for being here. Congratulations to the Miramichi Northmen.
Mike's Bar and Grill Northmen.
Miramichi, Mike's Bar and Grill Northmen. Go get yourself some good food at Mike's Bar and Grill. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Mike's Bar and Grill, because Corey now has a new favorite, because he has a new favorite every other day. So we'll talk about Corey's new favorite at Mike's Bar and Grill, and we'll talk about my new favorite at Mike's Bar and Grill. And I don't know, there's been rumors of a parade, so hopefully we'll have an announcement on the parade come Thursday. But thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for all your support of the podcast. Thanks to all the teams in the league and the fans and everybody else. Interviews are coming up, tons of interviews here. We've got too many players to name because we'll forget someone, but Corey did most of them, and they're pretty fantastic. So
I think you only did one, right? You did
I did Grant Donovan.
And then
I gave you the mic and I ran around the ice pulling people. That's all I did.
Yeah. I think my favorite interview, like Bryce Milson's one, my cousin was one. John Hardy was the first time me interviewing him. What a nice guy that guy is. And one of the lines that he said, he's like, "We took inspiration from you guys," and I'm like, "Oh no, what did we say?"
Oh
I'm like,
God,
"This isn't gonna end well." And he's like, "You guys said not the team with the most talent, but all the heart in the world, and heart beat talent this time and the Miramichi Northmen are extremely talented. They do things that I can't even think of. So, but all the heart in the world."
Right. You said it right. Heart beat talent.
Yep.
Heart beat, two NHLers and a hell of a talented JCs.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of, I think, that victory, this is a team that believed in themselves and went on to beat the Elspach Cox, and now they're BSHL champions, deservedly so.
Mm-hmm.
So
deservedly so.
Heart beats all. With that, we'll throw to those interviews. Corey, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me this season, and here's to season 3.
Here's to season 3. We'll be back on Thursday, and we'll see you guys then.
Take care.